Hey guys, this is Ant bringing you part 2 of my door and switch tutorial. So if you followed the first part, we made a door which the player can open by walking up to it and pressing E, as demonstrated here. In this video, what I want to do is I want to make it so that you create a separate actor to control the door remotely. So we'll get straight into it. So we have a door 1 actor which we want to control. So I'm going to make a small modification to that. So if you remember the part 1 tutorial, you see the input there, the branch, to check if it's open or closed, and then it runs through the timeline when it's pressed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the E key, and I'm going to create something different now, which is a custom event. And I'm going to just call that switch pressed. And then I'm going to plug that into here to the branch. So what we've done is we've removed the input, and essentially we're making a separate event which will come into play when we create the other actor. So make sure that's compiled, and now next we need to create a switch blueprint. So what we do is we'll go into the window and we will right click, select blueprint class, and then choose actor, and then I'm just going to call this switch 1. Open that up. And then what we're going to do next is I'm going to add a cube component. I'm going to call that switch. And the next thing I'm going to add is a collision component. I'm just going to call that collision. Hit compile. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale the collision up. I'm not going to go too much. I just want to make sure that it covers it so that when it's in range that the player can interact with it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Hit compile. Next thing we'll need to do is go into the event graph and start programming the functionality for it. Now there is a quick way of duplicating what we used before, which is the on components begin overlap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these nodes, Control C to copy them, go into the switch blueprint, and basically print them into here. Now with these, they are they're not context sensitive, so you should be able to copy them across without any issue. But if you find any problems when you do copy nodes, best thing to do is just recreate them from scratch within the blueprint itself to save any issues. So hit compile there. Next, what I want to do is I want to change it so that the switch is got the input E instead. So search for input E. Now next thing I want to do is I want to create a variable, and the reason is I want this blueprint switch actor to be able to pick the door that I want it to open. So when you go into the variable type, what you do is you search for the actual actor itself, and it will come up with an object type, and I want to create a reference to it. And then you can choose this, the name to be select actor or pick door, anything you want really. I'm just going to call it pick door. Now what we want to do is we want to make that into an array, and I want that so to be public by clicking the little eye icon here, and then hit compile. Now what we do is we drag that into as a getter, and then you see it here. From this, drag out for each loop, and then what we do is we'll just connect the executable pin here. So what happens here is that array, that variable is basically specifically aimed at the door blueprint, so in this case it's door 1. So what will happen is anything that's dragged out from the elements or its components will basically be associated with door 1 and not the actual switch blueprints. So if I drag out from array elements and I type in switch pressed, you can see here that it says on there target is door 1. Connect that, and I'm going to hit compile. So essentially what I'm doing here is I've created a custom event within door 1, which is the switch pressed event. So when E is pressed here, it'll check what's in the array, and it'll basically send a message from that event, that function, into this blueprint, and then it'll fire off this sequence here, which is basically to open the door. So next thing I'll do is I'll drag in my switch into the world. Also, before we go in, I want to make it stand out a bit better. So I'm going to just create a quick material. I'm just going to call that switch mat. I'm going to go into it, and I'm going to hold free, left click for a constant free vector, double click on it to enter it, and just pick a colour. Any colour that you want, it doesn't matter as long as it stands out. Connect it to base colour, hit apply, and then minimise that. Also go into your switch, and then you can see there on the materials on the right hand panel that it's got the basic shape material. I don't want that, I want the new material. Hit compile. Now I'm going to drag in the switch material, switch actor into the world, beg your pardon. So we have a switch. So if I hit play, go up to it and press C, nothing happens. Now there's a reason why nothing happens in this case. All it is, if you look on the right hand panel, there's a default, and you basically, if you expand it, it comes up where you have to actually physically pick the thing that you want it to communicate to. In this case it's door 1, but the switch doesn't know which door to activate. So what you do is you click on the pick actor from scene, which is the eyedropper there, and you have to choose it first. And if you notice on the right hand side it comes up with door 1. So if I hit play again, and there you go. You notice that the door opens. Oh, and then because of the functionality programmed in tutorial 1, part 1, you can open and choose it, open and close it at will. Okay, so now that we've got our door and switch, I'm just going to show you some of the advantages that you can have about using this sort of system and using this kind of blueprint. So if you have a look in the window, I'll show it. You've got one switch, you've got one door. But say you wanted to create a level or an environment where there's multiple switches and multiple doors, and certain switches only control certain doors. So if I hold Alt and I just create 2 switches here, that will create a third switch. And I will create 3 doors here. Okay. So you've checked the array there, and it controls door 1, so that switch opens that door. Okay. However, you select another switch, and you can have that controlling a completely different door. So I'm going to choose door 2, and I'm going to select this other one, and I'm going to pick door 3. So hit play again. You notice that door opens when I hit that one. That door opens there. And that door opens there. Okay, so thank you for watching part 2 of my tutorial. I hope you guys find it useful, and if you have any questions, feel free to write in the comments and I'll try and answer you as best as I can. And stay tuned for more tutorials. Thank you.